every day with, what the heck's going on. And I think that maybe I'm more whiplashy than, some of my majority party colleagues, but at the same time, I think everyone's just kind of like trepidatious because all of a sudden, for example, the president pro tem of the Senate, he's never been a real sort of working class guy, and all of a sudden he's out there announcing that he's, really standing up for the working class. And I was like, what? So it's all confused. Everything's confused right now.
The 3 judges in Washington had upheld the ban. Y'all know that? And I have a bumper sticker on my car. Elena and I go to the same church, so I got a church that says, "I was a refugee, Jesus." So we're happy about that ruling. I think, I just came out of the budget meeting, secret budget. I think that the leadership is genuinely worried about what's going to happen in Washington. And they're worried about our growth patterns, which are good, but good in some spots and not others. We have to predict our revenues 18 months in advance. We have to predict a budget for July 1st, 2017 to June 30th, 2018. And the federal budget is a September 30th. I tell you all that detail, Joe, but there's a lot of reason to be nervous. And that's the only rational explanation I can think of that the governor's not moving forward with the formula, because we have $2 billion in reserve right now.
While you're on the microphone, why don't you talk a little bit about the budget, because I wanted you to do that anyway, since you're on appropriations.
The recession took many agencies, some agencies lost as much as 40%. Secretary of State, some of the soil and water conservation, we have lost money that we've not recovered from. In the budget, they acknowledge that under the current 1985 formula, we are not giving $166 million to the schools. We're not fully funding the schools as the formula today says. But we are now up to $24 billion, and we have a $2 billion reserve. So they are plugging holes to bring us back to pre-recession numbers. And they're doing some extras in some limited areas. But basically, we are in recovery mode, doing well to recover, but not quite there. And a conservative management of money, which is not bad necessarily, is going to be uncertain about certain steps. The 2 big pay raises address issues of workforce that are significantly problematical throughout our state. We have above 30% turnover in law enforcement and above 30% turnover in child welfare. The governor in August announced he was giving a 20% raise to law enforcement, and he announced in January he was giving a 19% raise to child welfare workers. Those are significant increases to address significant workforce issues across the state. So we're bumping things up in some areas. Teachers get 2%, employees get 2%, not overly generous, but the governor did say this year he's not going to leave it up to the 180 school systems whether or not they give the teachers the 2%. He's giving the teachers the 2%. So,
Yeah, that's more direct.
that's more direct, because that is to go through a local police board. It goes through. Although now the municipal police, they want 19% increases too. So, we're not going to talk about minimum wage in Georgia.
We tried, we filed some bills.
I don't believe that's a realistic possibility. I think that there are many state employees who are eligible for food stamps. They are eligible for food stamps. Many of the correction officers that start working at $19,000 to $21,000 are depending on the size of the family. So we can do a lot in terms of wage increase, but I don't think raising the minimum wage is something the House and the Senate leadership would allow to happen. And,
What do you think about your change? You can, oh, yes, ma'am.
I do think it's important to continue to talk about wage increase, even if it looks hopeless. One of the reasons we have to do that is that all of our failing schools are poverty schools. And those students will never stand a chance unless their parents make enough money for them to live on. And they don't have to have constant concerns about, can I get the kids to school today, or I can't miss work because my child has measles, so what do I do? And all of the chaos that comes from living on a less than decent wage. We have got to, every time we talk about schools, talk about the minimum wage. And we also, I think, really should take the Chamber of Commerce up on going for the Medicaid expansion. Because they don't know what they're doing in Washington either, and now even Trump is saying they probably won't get their plan ready.
No, it's true. The longer you're exactly right. The longer they delay, the more apparent it is that there never was any other plan, which we of course knew anyway. The more appropriate it is, and of course we've been mouthing off anyway, but to mouth off even more aggressively and just try to have some meetings with the chamber. The situation had, gotten so dire that all the Chamber of Commerce put together a group to really look at the access to healthcare problem, with this focus on these rural hospitals, and came up with a plan that would basically be a Medicaid expansion. We would kind of put a Georgia stamp on it the way, Arkansas and some of these other southern states did. So, I don't disagree with that, and certainly we have filed legislation related to the minimum wage every year since I've been down there, and do a lot of talking about it. So we'll keep that up.
Make the links to education.
No, you're right.
Make the Medicaid expansion links to education.
This is fascinating. Let me just mention. Today I had my chief of staff is here too, Stephanie Turnover. We had a very long meeting with a constituent of ours, who lives in Decatur, her background's in epidemiology, but she for 4 years has been working on a project through the Georgia Department of Education called Get Georgia Reading. It's focused on literacy by 3rd grade. But what she is doing is, with her epidemiological background, she's like overlaying all the factors that lead to basically kids not being able to read by 3rd grade. And the situation is actually that only 35% of our kids actually read proficiently by 3rd grade. Only 35%. So she's saying, this is an epidemic. Okay, that's true. Well, it was just interesting because some of the factors, of course, that she's digging out include such things as a mom with less than 12 years education, a child with a low birth weight, or a preterm birth. Like all these things, it's all really fascinating. Oh, oral care. Y'all know that's a huge issue because even a lot of our safety net healthcare programs have not covered oral care. So when you've got, hunger and oral care, so it's just all really fascinating. And Dr. Green did tell me, our superintendent did tell me that he told the governor that one of his big challenges in the quote unquote failing schools is transiency, and that one of the contributing factors is families who hop from apartment complex to apartment complex because of 3 months rent deals that are offered. So, this is all a lot more, it is a lot, it's all very complex. Of course, we knew that. The OSD plan was not as complex as the situation that confronts trying to educate our kids. I think that's one of the reasons it failed. But, we know that transiency, poverty, and all kinds of other factors are certainly contributing. The good news, though, is that more than I have seen in the past, I think there is more recognition that the conversation probably does need to be broadened a little bit. But the governor really does care, and certain legislators really do care about educating our population. But I will tell you, they're getting a ton of pressure from these chambers of commerce, et cetera, who are saying, we don't have the workforce to staff the kind of jobs that we need in this type of economy. We need, 60% more Georgians to have associate's degrees than currently do. Otherwise, that will slow down our economic development. We can't attract these employers. Well, that message is getting through. And so you'll see Fran Miller, our senator directly to the north, he is the chairman of higher education. And he has now, with others, finagled the Gates Foundation to pay for a study into affordability of higher education in Georgia. And so this conversation about the needs-based is coming up more. That is mostly because, as Senator Miller put it, there just aren't enough kids that can end up affording college on their own. And we need a much broader portion of our workforce to be educated to fill these jobs. You know, maybe we get there different ways, but the conversation has changed to things like what you were mentioning about ensuring that some kids from backgrounds that are not as fortunate can actually try to get a higher education and supporting them. So I'm actually working on a couple of things in that regard that I want to mention really briefly before we move on to other questions. So one of the things that has proved to be a large impediment to a broader swath of our population achieving associate's degree and higher is the astronomical cost of childcare, especially high quality childcare. The average age of folks enrolled in our technical colleges, I think, is about 28. Isn't that right? Remember? Yes, about 28. So obviously, it's not really a shock that many of them have families. And if you're from a low-income background, you can't, and you don't have anyone to watch your kids, which, by the way, if you are trying to rely on family members, etc., that's not as reliable as having a set child care provider. Probably also, in many instances, maybe not as enriching for your child. So there are other problems with it, but you can't support yourself and your child and go to school because there's no way to feed your family in the meantime. So it's a big impediment in getting stuck in kind of like lower wage jobs. So we do have a program that's a joint federal-state program. It's about 75% federal dollars, 25% state, and it provides subsidized child care. Or it helps certain families get child care. And it first, in order to qualify, you first have to meet the income eligibility levels. And then you have to be doing an approved activity. Well, right now your approved activity can be working, it can be getting your education, but you cannot use it to get a degree. You can get like a diploma of some sort, like maybe a 1-year credential, but you would not be counted as having an approved activity if you were trying to go on to get your master's or your bachelor's or anything like that. So we kind of took a look at that and thought it didn't really make that much sense, because the more you can get people to a higher skill level, the more money they can make. They climb the economic ladder, better for them, better for their children, better for the state because they come off the program, better for the state because they pay more in taxes, and better for the state because they then are moving into this sort of higher educated workforce level that we apparently are now trying to really see, which is a good thing, right? So to me, that's kind of a no-brainer. So, of course, a problem still exists, which is that the pot of money is still not as big as we would need to make really meaningful strides in helping this population. But for the immediate bill, what I'm trying to work on is getting that restriction lifted. And then over the years, we can hopefully, along with numerous advocate groups, demonstrate that this program is really a really wise investment of state dollars. So that bill has been heard in the Education Committee, and I'm doing some work on it with the chairman and with some of the other, the program is administered by our Department of Early Care and Learning. So having a lot of conversations, very hopeful that we can get that bill moving forward this year. Another bill that we are working on